Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Getting to Know the Artist. My name is Ericka. I am the founder of Women Folk, and we are excited to talk to Faith Ann tonight. She is one of our younger artists for the Women Folk music experience, and I am so excited to get to know her and learn a little bit about her. We're just waiting for her to come on and send me an invite. The last interview was with Andrea Paquin, and our first one was with Callie McKenzie, who really stuck by while I tried to figure this whole thing out. And it was just great getting to know both of them. So I'm really excited to talk to Faith Ann tonight. Let's see if she's here. Do not see her. Faith Ann, if you are watching and you are on computer, please go to a phone or I will not be able to see you. So please catch the live on a phone and then we can chat together. Faith Ann, her bio says that she was in the corporate world and she just left the corporate world to pursue music. So I am dying to hear the story behind that. Let's see. Everybody's still there. I don't know what I just did. All right, let's see. Okay, Faith Ann is here. I'm going to add her in. Sent you an invite. I sent you an invite. And she also, it says that I'm adding you. Yay! All right, there she is.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is our third artist that we're interviewing to getting to know the artists of Women Folk. And so I just want to introduce Faith Ann to everybody. Faith Ann was one of the first artists that we actually went out to seek out. We heard about her, and so my friend Becky and I went out and checked her out, and she was opening for a band, and we were like, no, 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 she should not be the opener. And we went and talked to her and told her about what we were trying to create with Women Folk and hoped that she would apply. You never know. You can tell all the people that you love to come and join, but it's really up to them. So when she applied, it was very exciting. We were very excited to add you. You also came with us when we went to Red 13 Studios a few weeks ago, and I have to say that all the women there, you had to leave us early. You did your video and left, but every single woman just felt like we loved you immediately, and we were so glad that you were in the fold of New Hampshire Women Folk. And it was just such a great experience, just being surrounded by so much support and encouragement. I had a great day, and it was so great to watch you. And the video just came out so beautiful.
Right?
So okay, your bio says you left the corporate world to do music. Tell me what that means. What does that mean?
Yeah, so pretty much the whole music thing really started because I had a student in my high school algebra class, and he was in a band and he was coming to school really tired and, falling asleep or whatever. And he'd be like, sorry, I was out late. I had a show last night. And I was like, huh. And I had always dated musicians and, played guitar when I was younger, but never really felt that I had any right to really make music. Like everyone else was better than me. I don't need to even bother, really. And then, this kid, he just, for some reason it was so inspiring that this young kid was doing this thing. And then it occurred to me, like, Metallica, all these, like Alice Cooper, all these famous people started a lot of the time when they were in high school, like these songs. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, man, I can do that. Like, I feel like I relate to these kids and I feel their passion. And when I was I was an engineer for years, and I worked for a defense contractor, and then I worked for another engineering company for a little bit. And it was interesting how far from youth everyone I worked with was. Like, they did these things for the majority of their day that I know their child in them wouldn't have wanted to do.
Right.
The child wouldn't have wanted to sit in an office dealing with people, being all, it just didn't make sense. And when I was around the students, they hadn't given up yet. They hadn't worn down. They hadn't like lost their drive. They had things and aspirations they wanted to do and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, I just need to do this. So I went to an open mic, and that student ended up coming with his family, and oh my God, I don't think I have ever heard myself sound worse than I did at that open mic. And I was so critical of myself, and it was like the first time playing guitar and singing in front of anybody, and the student was like, "Oh, don't worry, you never liked the way that you sound." And I was like, well, I've got some ways to go. And then that kind of stuck with me, and I had started making plans, and I had started figuring out how I could need less bills or just need less anything, and what I could do through volunteering or through community to kind of have my needs met without necessarily needing finance. And when I decided to leave engineering, and I decided that I just couldn't grow into one of these old people, and I wanted to, you know, still be inspired by my life every day. It was really a push when I started making music, and I started realizing like people can just, you know, do their hobbies or their crafts, and that's what they do. And I noticed that the less I had time to do those things, the more like those people I didn't want to be, I felt like, you
Right.
know. So
Absolutely.
I just really, you know, you hear the story like, oh, I worked 60 hours this week. Oh, I worked however many hours this week. And it's weird how the culture has kind of made that a good thing. But it's like,
Right. Well, we
okay,
forget to play and take care of ourselves,
right.
and
Playing and taking care of ourselves. People that, you know, it's so sad, they sit all day and they can't reach their feet to tie their shoes. They're groaning and stuff, and you're just like, man, how did that happen? It's like, you knew you knew you're gonna get old. And why I started yoga.
so let's back up a minute. You said a couple things that I want to touch base on. So here you are, an engineer. You realize that this is not the future that you want for yourself. Then you're inspired because you're teaching, and the student is just like giving it his all at 15 or whatever age he was. And so, like, what was the moment where you were, you know, sitting in the kitchen or whatever it was, where you were like, okay, this is it, I'm doing it, and you did it? Like, what finally pushed you to that edge where you were like, I'm going to jump, and either I crash at the bottom or all of a sudden I sprout wings, and you took that leap of faith? What was that moment?
It was pretty much COVID. When we started getting money from the COVID relief, I was like, well, everyone is helping everyone now for whatever reason. And if I crash, this is probably the best time to crash because everyone's trying to help everyone anyways. So yeah, that really gave me the push. And I remember right when I kind of made the leap of like, well, Faith, you better do this. I used to wake up and feel really anxious because you're not waking up and going to a job anymore. You're practicing, and you're networking, and you're working on whatever creative skills you want to work on, writing music or
And I
reaching
think
out.
people forget that. Like, with people, I often get comments at gigs that, oh, well, you're so lucky, you get to do what you love. You get to go and play music, but they don't understand the hours that you're spending at home learning cover songs, writing your own songs, practicing, making sure you sound good, the amount of money that goes into gear so that you can sound good, the travel, the load in, the load up, you know, all of it. It's like, yeah, I get to do what I love, but it's also work. like it's just a happier balance. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. You are one of the only artists so far that have had questions from our post that fans want to have answers to. So I want to touch base on Fallon Andrews put up a question for you that she wanted you to answer. She says, how do you carry on in your crafts with adversity? And it seems like you're already answering that just by telling your story, but I'd love to hear how you navigate. I mean, you made a drastic switch, a very drastic life change. And so learning how to live a new lifestyle completely, if musicians do not make a lot of money, like there's a lot of adversity in that alone, let alone being a mom and you make clothing and have a craft page. I mean, so how do you navigate through all that? What is it that keeps Faith Ann going?
Yeah, I tutor, I paint houses, I do laboring things, and really what keeps me going is all of the echoes of every adult or parent or older person that told the kid they could be anything they wanted. Uh, that stays, and remembering that really keeps me driven. And like, I post my pictures of my clothing online, and I don't have a mannequin, and I want people to see that it's flattering, so I put it on my body. And I think about when my daughter was a baby and how beautiful and pure her skin was, and her little toes and everything. And it's a shame to think that as soon as those parts develop, she has to be ashamed of them. And it's, you get kind of objectified. And in one hand, it makes you're always fighting this, well, maybe I should not stir the pot, or maybe I am just like putting a negative picture. But what keeps me like staying true is thinking about my infant children who are grown now, and my daughter is getting teenager now, and my son's almost a teenager, and thinking about what my purest and highest self wanted for them. And I would never want them to wake up dreading the day, and I would never want them to wake up and consider the shape of their body as how they're going to feel about themselves. Or I would never want them to all these things. And then I just have to reflect, like, when I make the clothes and stuff, I've been doing that since I was a little kid. I've been cutting my clothes up and making them for my stuffed animals. Like, it's great to keep that encouraging, and like watching other people like something and practice it enough, and the joy that they feel, and you watch a little kid doing something that they really like.
I
And
I want to butt in here because I think most of the musicians that I know are also crafty people and creative in many other ways. I am that way myself, and but you keep touching base on how you I heard you mention your own experience of feeling ashamed of modeling your beautiful clothes, and that's kind of goes back to what New Hampshire women folk really why we started what we were doing, and I'm feeling like maybe that's why you decided to apply when we accosted you at your show.
yeah, that's
uh,
exactly it. Like, I had a friend talk to me about a therapy session she had, and she came out, my beautiful friend. She's always been so beautiful and so sweet. And she talked about it's stressful being a beautiful person. You never know what people really want from you. You can't just do, and not even just beautiful. It's sometimes it's just, it sucks being a tender, kind person. Everything
right,
gets, and it's because we're women a lot of the time. And like, what beautiful power, people do want, back in the day, people would, pillage towns or whatever, but the fundamental, like the root thing, or people, hiring or using or having a female or entertaining in a, sensual manner before like war or abstaining or whatever. But obviously there's a power that comes from when our creative force is awakened, that creative, which creates life, and creates life is just art, just whatever. It's all the same energy. And it makes sense that women are looked to, for that that type of power that we kind of behold. We're very shapely, our curves are, unless, then some people are like the men. And then men's bodies, also extremely beautiful, all of the wonderful things they can do with their bodies, our bodies, just human bodies in general. But there comes a lot to have, when you're a woman and you look delicate in the way that you get treated, you get assumed you don't know what you're talking about, which is also what kind of inspires me to follow all my crafts and my passions and do stuff. Is I can still stack wood. My hands are all jacked up from working on that freaking bus. My hands will never look nice. I love hands so much. My own hands are so rugged from the guitar and
I have
everything.
the man hands myself.
But like, you think about it, they should look like that. You should use these things. Like, I don't
Exactly. They're
want
gifts.
to have fancy lips and I'm getting wrinkles. Who
I
cares?
always hated my hands, and my nana, I have very large hands for a woman, and my nana would always say, "Oh, Eri, they're healing hands. Those are gifts from the angels." So it always
For
made me feel
real.
better. I do want to round out. I feel like you are exactly the artist that we want at Women Folk. And I don't even know you that well yet, but I was drawn to you the first night that we saw you. I knew that you had something to say, and even though I wasn't sure of what it was, both Becky and I were drawn to you. We wanted to talk to you. We wanted you to be part of this. And I think that even when the five of us were together making those videos, that's the beginning. That was just like a little moment of what the bigger picture is of what we're going to create with Women Folk. And I'm so excited that you're going to be on that stage, and that families and kids and men and women and everything in between are going to be able to see the power of being beautiful and a woman, and being strong and bitchy and knowing what they want, and all of it as a normal thing and not as an objectified thing. And I think that I just feel like your story has just begun. I mean, COVID wasn't long ago. Your music journey is just starting, and I'm so excited that you have so much more to say. And I'm so thankful that you are in the fold of this community that has started. You walked away that day, and four women were totally in love with you and were ready to fight for you. And like, at the drop of a hat, you could call any of them and we would be there. And I want you to know that that's very true. So just listening to this little snippet of your journey, um, I want you to share with us, if you will, what made you say yes to the two crazy old ladies that attacked you at your show and asked you to be part of this experience?
I think it actually was our age difference that made it, because I'm uh starting to have people younger than me be like regular people, like adults. And I notice how much healing is in that generational exchange of wisdom.
And that
And
goes both ways. I want you to know
for
that
sure,
works both ways.
for sure. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm having people younger than me be people, and realizing like it does go both ways. And like, the youth have their input that keeps the older people connected to that. Like, if we stay connected to our youth, we are connected to our youth. And when we hear their voices, they become our voices, and what
That's
their
right.
wishes are become our wishes. And the more we can come together And I always just seek out maternal energy, and I feel foreign in the presence of it, but I feel so good in the presence of it. And I want to move into that sort of crone role. I feel like a crone already, which is wild because I know that I'm young, and it blows my mind that like people older than me are more of this. I don't even understand how you more of this. It's just wild, but it's a blessing to share experiences. And like motherhood is just such a wild experience that I feel like everyone is kind of too shamed to talk about. And I think the more women get together and just feel free in an open space to just be vulnerable and talk about experiences where they may not have been at their proudest moment, and realize that, yeah, we have experiences when we're not at our proudest moment, but we can do better for each other when we are like that. We
Sharing
can,
them. Well, and you
right.
have to share it. It's,
Yeah.
I'm 50 years old, so I've got 20 years on you. My son is older than you, um, by quite a few years, and it, I have where I live in the North Country. Age isn't really a big thing when you're friends with people. It's a community. It's not age groups. And when he came up from Texas one time, he brought a friend. He was 24. So I had friends his age. And his friend looked at me like, don't you think that's weird that you're hanging out with people your son's age? And I was like, absolutely not, But it had never even dawned on me that that was an odd, weird thing, because up here, it's not so different. So to hear you say that is very interesting. I think we do need to be open to each other. I learn more from being open, no matter who is speaking to me, to listen, because anything you hear or any advice you give, it's all a lesson that you needed to learn in the first place anyway, right? When you give advice to your friend, isn't it something that usually dawns on you that you needed to hear it yourself? I mean, so how is there an age limit on that? I'm excited that you feel that way, and that because the age differences of all the artists is pretty unique and wonderful too. So I'm excited to see what kind of folks come out. I do want to mention your craft page is called With Love from Faith. So if you want some really freaking beautiful clothes and like
Jewelry and art.
everything, go check out With Love from Faith on Facebook, correct?
Yeah, and Instagram too. I'm crafting right now too. I got my gems and my
Oh, I love
stuff.
it. I love it. I love it. So that is our quick interview. Oh, those are cute. Um, that is our quick interview. I am so happy that you joined us. I'm so happy that you're in our community, and I hope that you know that we really mean it when we all loved you instantly. Becky and I were pretty much crying on the way home, but we cry a lot. So, but it's everything that you have said today is why we started this. I've been doing this for 33 years, longer than you've been alive. And not much has changed in the music industry for women. Um, Pay is just the least of things, but I feel that there's hope. Even 33 years later, where not much has changed, I feel that there's hope, and I feel like this experience that we're creating is going to change the world. And whether that's the world here in New England or just in Thornton, New Hampshire, it doesn't matter, because the one little girl that you're speaking to from that stage, who takes it and then shares it with her boyfriend, who is all of a sudden like, wow, that clicked, and shares it with his daughter in the future, that is how we're going to change the world. So I'm very excited that you are part of this. I'm so glad that you came and joined us tonight. Please check out Faith Ann's music. I know, well, her beautiful video from Red 13 Studios is up on social media now, but where else can we find your music, Faith?
Spotify, thefaithandband.com, every like SoundCloud, Bandcamp, all of the places.
So go buy her music and support Faith Ann. And thanks for tuning in. I just want to remind everybody that we have our first fundraiser coming up, a Songwriters in the Round at the Loading Dock in Littleton, New Hampshire on March 25th from 7 to 9. The tickets are by donation. And you know, give what you can and come and enjoy an incredible night of music. Thank you again, Faith, for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you next time with our next guest, who is undecided at this point. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much, Faith.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.